It's a long history, Varley's, and it's been checkered with ups and downs throughout it. So I came in at a time when it wasn't going so well. It faced a couple of crises in the business. The biggest being its market that it operated in had virtually, evaporated in a very short time frame, in less than 2 years, and it hadn't been able to react and reinvent itself. The other one is being a family-owned and a family-run company. It was going through a generational transition, which it hadn't really worked out, properly how to, pass on, the leadership and control of the company then down to the next generation. So there was a dual challenge of trying to save the business in a dying market, but then and create the new leadership team that was going to take it down that path into the new markets. It was not that easy, I think, to spot the opportunity. It wasn't absolutely obvious, and there was plenty of external sort of consultants that were sort of telling us that really, the business won't survive. The consultants were brought in by the bank. The bank, was making a decision as to whether or not to liquidate the company and try and get its money back. So these consultants were coming in with a very critical eye over the business, and they walked out with, I thought, was a too negative a view on what the business was doing and what sort of future it had. So I didn't agree with them at all at the time. I know I was a little vocal about that as well, but I saw it as a challenge to prove these guys wrong. I was young, I was inexperienced. I didn't have, some of the, business knowledge. I hadn't run companies before, I hadn't done that. But I was also not blocked by those sorts of thoughts or beliefs. I didn't know what I didn't know. So hence it couldn't hold me back too, in that respect. So there was, a naivety in things, but then there was, as I said, there was a self-belief that this was a business that was a good business, and it was a business that had a good future, and we could achieve that. So we used that, to just that determination it was, and that drive then to achieve, and learn a lot along the way. To this day, I've never done my MBA. I probably should have. It's one of those things. I did have an ambition early on to do an MBA, but even now I find the time and effort and energy I'd have to put into an MBA, I'm better off applying all that into the business, and I'm one who really believes in learning as I go in the business. So I'm forever learning and picking up new stuff. So. There were the people who worked in Varley's had strong belief in the company, and really believed that in their jobs and what they were doing. The other thing was they were all quite skilled as well. It was a really good skill base to work with. So having the skills and then people with the desire to want to save the business and bring the business back up to where it should be, that made it a lot easier to work with. You weren't fighting any internal resistance as such into trying to save the company. Everybody was on board with it. Everybody was rolling up their sleeves saying, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to work hard. One of the things was I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I had to have a good sort of team around me. And it's one of the first things, we did at the time. We were actually at an awards ceremony where one of our young apprentices who's learning to become a tradesman was getting an award for being a great apprentice. And I know at the time our operations manager, Jim Marshall, I said to him there, I said, listen, I'm really going to need your help a lot if we're going to try and turn the company around. and he just said, "You name it, you've got it. No, I'm here the whole way." So, and then the rest of my management team was actually quite young as well, and it was able to, I guess, harness some of that energy, that youthful energy they had, and being able to then, work with them in a very collaborative way, where we would get together every week, and be saying, all right, well, this is what we got to do, how we're going to do it, and building and growing with them along the way has been one of the great pleasures, actually. So.